Hello, everybody. Welcome to join us. I'm Laura, and I'm part of the marketing team in MLC Presentation Design Consulting. Welcome to you all. And while we wait for everyone to join, let's try writing and using the chat. So write where you're joining from, what are your expectations for this webinar, and let's see if it works, because the chat will be our powerful tool today, where you can put all of your questions and expectations, and we will reply to your questions at the end of the webinar during the Q&A session. Okay, hello, Princeton, Toronto. Wow, amazing. From all over the world. We're based in Milan, so in Italy. Welcome to you all. Okay, let's wait about another minute. Hello, everybody. New joiners. Wow. So today we're going to discuss with our guests, I would say, a very hot topic, especially in recent months, so the artificial intelligence. Specifically, we will explore how AI is a powerful tool for supporting corporate communication, and how we can leverage it to communicate more effectively. Perfect. Okay, I see in the chat. Beautiful. Okay, I won't say any more, so let's welcome our first guest of the day, who is Alberto. Okay, I want to start with you with a quick question. So what impact has AI had on your daily work?
Yeah. First of all, good morning to everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, depending on where you are in the world. But nice question. Thank you, Laura. So in the end, we know that artificial intelligence, now it's a fact. It's not anymore a trend. It's a fact that artificial intelligence has grown a lot dramatically in the recent years. And we've been told a very simple story. Artificial intelligence as a democratic technology in the end of each of us that will enable us to do whatever activity at the ease of few clicks. And in the end, it's like that. We can do really whatever nowadays. And the more the time goes, the easier it is to use it. It's not anymore a rocket science technology. And what we asked ourselves in our business is, what can AI do effective business presentations for us? And let's think about a usual scenario. So we are in a urgent presentation. We need to convey to deliver a presentation in just a few days from now. And that presentation is highly strategical. So how do we behave usually in such situation? Do we stop and start thinking at the context of what and how we want to deliver? So also the way we want to deliver in order to convey certain messages to our audience. Do we analyze our audience and trying to understand to whom we are going to talk to and what could be their resistances? Do we stop and set some clear objectives in order to understand how we want to present our content in order to reach and achieve those goals? And eventually, do we create a real strategy? Do we create a strategy for our communication in order to be persuasive enough? I think that in the majority of the cases that happen in our past, we just open PowerPoint, start adding slides if we already have from previous presentations, or creating new slides one after the other without thinking that much of what we are going to do. And if you are lucky enough that we have time and we can get some help from and support from outside, we think, of course, to a design agency. So we ask them to work for us and support us in doing our presentation. And how do they approach usually a need like that one? Usually they focus on design and making slides beautiful. But beautiful does not mean effective, does not mean functional. Indeed, usually the design they use is just to make the slide prettier. But is it enough? Usually they work also on some softwares that do not allow us to have the final source file. Usually we receive the PDFs, and PDFs by definition are not editable to a common user. You need specific softwares. So let's rethink about this scenario 1 second. We are in that huge presentation that is highly critical, and we want to have the ability to change maybe that's little number till the last minute. So with a PDF, we lose control over our presentation. And it comes from all these facts that at MLC, we believe in the importance of being consultants in our communication. Yes, consultants. Indeed, it's true that we want to turn ideas into memorable presentations, but we want to do it in a consulting way. So how a normal consultant would do. That's why we first listen to our client. We listen to their needs, not their brief. The brief is something that we do together with our clients. Indeed, we ask them, what is your need? What do you want to tell to the audience? Who is your audience? What are their constraints and resistances? What is your timing? And according to this, we prepare what we usually call the first brief. Then once we have a clear overview of the need, we start thinking about a storyline to make some that should be persuasive enough and effective in order to reach our clients' goals. And according to the new storyline that we craft, we apply a design that is made specifically for business. So without all the useless decorations like animations, transition, art, decorations, we mainly do apply a design that is made for business in order to make the communication even more persuasive, even more effective. And we do all these things giving the client the real source file. So a PowerPoint that with all the graphic assets that we designed for them. And that PowerPoint today is the presentation that you're going to deliver. Tomorrow is the basic template that you can use and reuse as reference for future needs. All of these defining a roadmap that is pretty straightforward. We define it at the beginning. We understand when the client should be involved in order to give us some approval or feedback along the process in order to keep it lean. And whenever the client is not involved, we keep updating them in order for them to be always on board. All these things managing the most important resource for our client, the time. And this is what, basically is our methodology that puts together the lean presentation design methodology that puts together strategy first, communication strategy, the best storytelling to be persuasive and effective in the way we present, and the design that is functional, as I said. And this is what Maurizio wrote in his book, the Lean Presentation Design book, that I know that some of you already know. So starting from going back to the question that I asked at the beginning, is AI able to create effective presentations? Well, the only way we have to understand and have an answer to this question is to test the technology. And by testing the technology in the end with some presentation we did internally, we understood that with AI, we could have a good and accurate audience analysis and some tips on how to talk to them. We were able to do some data gathering and analysis with just few clicks. So even without having many competencies in data analysis, and we could create some storytelling and good copywriting at the ease of few clicks, as I was saying. So in other words, we were saving a lot of time. So with all these facts so far, the easy consideration could be that AI could substitute humans. But maybe it's not really like that. Indeed, let's take one of the recent projects we did for one of our clients. In this specific project, the request was pretty simple. It was about the interviewing process in the company. They had a lot of questions that they usually want to ask to candidates. And there are, for each candidate, there are at least 4 interviewers. And they wanted a tool that so far they didn't have They wanted the tool to put together the evaluations of each interviewer, the consideration, the comments of each interviewer in order to get to the final evaluation in a quick and transparent way. So far, each interviewer was using different tools, either Excel, Word, PowerPoint, and there was no clear process. That's why they asked us, can you support us in creating this tool? And after talking with the client, we already had an idea in mind, but we decided to test AI once again. And so what did we do? In this case, we just go back to Copilot and ask him, can you try to find a solution to such issue, to such need? And what we got were some not accurate solutions, either Google Form, but in this case, the sensitive data that we were managing could not be uploaded in an online server, or another proposal was to develop a personalized web app. So we tried and reiterated the process, this time using a more accurate prompt. In this case, it's the prompt formula that we created internally in MLC that was a structured and is a structured way to communicate with AI. And even with a proper prompt, the solution was not that different. Indeed, this time, even a software as a service solution was suggested to us. But I mean, we understood that we were following an approach that was totally wrong. Indeed, we were thinking of the AI as a solution generator, while we understood that we had to follow our common approach using AI as an enabler, as a supporting tool. And this is what we did. As I said, we already had a strategy in mind after talking with the client. And this is what we followed. And we used AI throughout the process to understand whether there was a way to improve our strategy. In this case, we went for an interactive PDF using Adobe Acrobat and the forms functionalities that are already built in the software. After thinking about where we wanted to get, we understood what could be an execution plan. So we divided the big project into different subtasks and used the AI as a support for each of the subtasks. So along the process. For example, a huge support that we got, we understood that the built-in forms that are included in Acrobat are limited. And if we wanted to get better results, the only way is to write some JavaScript codes. We are not coders, of course. We understand code, but we were not super confident in writing new codes. And with AI, we were able to get the final code and the optimized code with just few iterations. And after executing the project smoothly, of course, we applied also our design with our team of designers that are, that is in our company, that with a professional touch, they improved a lot the final output, having the client happy. So going back to the question, can AI substitute humans? I think, and we personally think, that the question is totally wrong, because we don't have to think of AI as a substitution for humans. We need to think of AI as an enabler, an ally, a competence booster. And we had also another confirmation of this way of thinking by OpenAI, so the company that is behind ChatGPT. Indeed, recently for the Super Bowl, they launched and they announced a new video campaign that they launched at the Super Bowl, and they spent more than $14 million for a video that was produced by humans, by an agency, graphic agency. And they said that AI was not able to do such results, to perform such and to create and craft such video, but they used it during the concept creation. I mean, a technology that is built in ChatGPT to get to the final concept in order to create the best brief for the graphic agency. And this is it on my side. I mean, I'm here for any question, maybe later during the event. Thank you.
Thanks, Alberto. And I'm very happy to hear that AI will not replace us and that we have to see it as an ally. So thank you very much. And a quick reminder to you all, at the end of the webinar, you will have and get the access to valuable resources. So stay with us until the very end. And if you have questions, any questions, write them right in the chat. And now, let's move on our next guest, Maurizio, CEO and co-founder of MLC Presentation Design Consulting. Thank you, Maurizio. And I won't say anything else because I know that you have a lot to tell us. So the stage is yours.
Hello, Laura. Thank you very much for the stage. Hello, everybody. Welcome to join. I see some very good friends, some previous, some former students of mine as well. I wanted to just say hello to Maria, to Ugo. Ciao, Ugo. Hello, Bob. Nice to see you. Hello, guys. Just say and hello to the chat. I would be very happy to see you joining here. It's a pleasure to be back with you. And I want to start straight away asking you about this. What is this? Guys, what do you think this is? How would you feel if I just, hey, Glenn, I just presented this way? I mean, look at this slide. Do you like it? But does it even work? This is a slide that I often like to share during the trainings, during the workshops that I deliver. But generally speaking, this is an emblematic example of how slides should not be done, in my opinion. Hey, Jay, nice to see you. Marina, welcome, guys. This is exactly how slides shouldn't look like. How would you feel? Guys, how would you feel? How would you feel if I showed you a slide like this? I mean, we've been talking about lean presentation design for the last 10 years now, and what you see at the still, even though like everybody would tell you, would swear, I know how to make a slide work, because everybody knows that a slide should be with less text in it, with more pictures, it should be support to the speaker. Yeah, but then we come up with slides that don't work. And I'm not making my point about the fact that we like our slides or not, whether our slides are more beautiful or not. I'm just saying that there are slides that do work and there are slides that do not work. Now, the point is, we want our slides to work. And again, it's not a matter of how beautiful they are, because slides could be beautiful for me, it's a personal opinion, but maybe somebody else doesn't like my slide. So my goal is to make my slides not beautiful for everybody, but effective for everybody. And this is the fundamental principle behind lean presentation design. How do we do that? Because we can do that. And you know, guys, if you've been in classes with me or with our instructors, that it is possible and everybody can do that. So I can turn ineffective slides into effective slides, and I can do that on an average speed that is at least twice as fast as the average user in PowerPoint. But how do we define whether a slide is more effective? Because this is a good question. Everybody would be ready, every good presentation trainer would tell us, hey, make your slide leaner, reduce the text, put more images, put more icons. Okay, but does this make it more effective? And if so, how can I measure this effectiveness? Furthermore, we're talking about effectiveness, but guys, it goes beyond effectiveness, because you know what? When we make presentations in business context, what happens is that most of the time we do not have time. Time is one of the scarcest resources on earth, and this is what we miss when we make presentations. Therefore, we need to be able to make our presentations fast. We need people to get presentation fast, and we need the message to last as long as possible. Time is a critical success factor in presentation. So on one side, I'm telling you I want you to make your presentations more effective. And on the other side, I'm telling you I want you to make your presentations faster and to last longer. So in one word, we define this as lean slides, lean presentation. This is the idea behind the lean presentation design. But what I want to tell you today is something I've never told anybody, something that is the result of very new and recent researches of mine, and I've never shared in any lean presentation design course ever. And I want to wonder, and I want to find an answer together today to the question, how do I know if a slide is lean enough? How do I measure how lean is a slide? This is a big question. So if somebody redesigns a slide for you, can you measure whether that slide is going to work better at delivering the message to your audience before just giving a simple personal opinion? Well, of course, I mean, if you guys, and I know among you in the audience, there are people who work with us. Of course, that would be like the shortest path. I know you guys work with us. We design slides for you, and 100% I can guarantee the slides that we are designing, of course, they are designed based on scientific lean principles, and of course, they are very effective. But what if you are designing the slides, or if you have to judge slides designed for you? Do you just say to your report, I don't like your slides, I don't think they're lean enough? Or can you measure this level of how lean they are, and you can give them quantitative feedback and tell them how to improve them concretely, right? Not just giving them a general random feedback. So to achieve that, we need for sure to get to a formal definition. A formal definition of what we define to be a lean slide. A lean slide, in my opinion, is a slide that maximizes the message delivery, minimizing the cognitive effort and the time to create it. So how do we measure this? I'm going to introduce you for the first time ever the result of my recent researches, which is the Lean Presentation Index. Now, it might seem overcomplicated or scary, or math-wise too complex. It's very easy, and I'm going to take you through it very easily, because at the end of the day, it's just an average. An average of what? First of all, clarity. The message has to be communicated and hit the audience attention immediately. Second, it has to be efficient, reducing the cognitive load. What does it mean? People, guys, when they look at us during the presentation, they have a cognitive budget, and this budget is limited. So either you conquer this budget, either you communicate the message minimizing the budget that you use, or if you exceed the budget, you request people to invest to understand your message, well, then you will lose them. So deliver your message, minimize the cognitive budget to understand it. Engagement. People forget most of what you tell them, but they will always remember the way you made them feel. So are you really engaging the audience, creating an experience that is memorable to them, or is a flat, dry presentation? How long are they going to remember your presentation? Is your message going to last? Because maybe we are delivering the message. This often happens, for example, for those of you guys, those of us who work in sales, right? Imagine I'm delivering a message, but I'm telling a person that maybe is not really the decision maker, and then this person must remember what I told her, so that she could go and then deliver the message to somebody who is the actual decision maker. So the message has to last, because maybe the people who are trying to influence to take an action, to persuade, are going to take an action in a second moment, which is going to be in the future after the presentation. Finally, last but not least, the time. The time ratio measures how much time you actually needed to make the slide compared to the time that actually that slide requires. So if you go too long, you're wasting your time. That's why I hate using animations, transitions, decorations that add no value at the end of the day to the audience and waste us a huge amount of time. Now let's talk about clarity. What do we mean by clarity or immediacy, right? Is how immediate the message hits the audience and gets their attention. Here I want to tell you, I want to challenge a typical false belief. You know, sometimes we listen to speakers who give a presentation and think about past presentations that you have attended, and there is always a speaker that tells you, you know what, as you can see my slide, as you can see my chart, okay, then you look at the slide, you look at the chart, but you definitely cannot see what the guy is talking about. So how is it possible that sometimes people who present see on their slides something that we don't see from the audience? This is strongly related to the audience knowledge. And this takes me to explain you the concept of expert-novice divide effect. It simply means that, guys, when we make slides, when we create our slides, we are experts about that topic. And we designed the slide to reflect our knowledge of the topic. But when we show people the slides about the topic they don't know, of course, they will feel overwhelmed and they won't see everything that we see on the slides. So sometimes a slide might look like effective to us, but it might be totally ineffective to them, depending on how much they know about the topic. To give you an explanation, I'm going to choose a topic that is now the next topic I'm going to deal with, which is how a human brain works in terms of working memory and long-term memory. To explain this, first I'm going to show you a slide from the University of Manitoba in the US. Okay, guys, this slide is overwhelming. It's overcomplicated. Of course, I see exactly what I want to tell you, but if you look at this slide, and I'm sure some of you is reading this slide, it's going to be very complicated to understand what is the message behind. So let's try to redesign it with a technique that is called chunking. So basically, I split the message into small chunks and I redesign it in a way that it's easier to digest. First, when we hit the working memory of people, we need incoming information. So we are sharing information, and those information are incoming information. This incoming information we are delivering through a presentation. This presentation is like a bucket, but this bucket has holes. And the problem is that these holes are losing the water, so the message, information we're giving. Remember that out of a presentation, people will walk out with only 10% of what you said. So 90% of what you're saying is just a background that makes the 10% stand out, but it will be gone very soon. That's why repetition helps, rehearsal helps. And that's why, for example, in presentations, one thing that I always recommend is if there is a key message that is part of the 10% you want people to walk out with, repeat it. You won't be boring. Repeat it. Use the same slide. Make it memorable and repeat it. Sometimes just a slide with a sentence, with a picture, like a memorable, impactful slide might be repeated twice, 3 times in a presentation, depending on how long the presentation is, but repeat it. Because if you repeat yourself, you'll make clear what is the 10% you want people to walk out with, and you will help them to remember it. How do people remember them? Well, if you manage to overcome the working memory loss, well, then you get to the long-term memory tank. If you get your message to the long memory tank, then it will last for very, very long time. Of course, not forever, but for very, very long time, and often enough for them to take action. Efficiency. Let's talk about efficiency. Here, I'm going to take you back to the story of a school of design that I often mention in my courses. It's a Gestalt school of thought. It's a school of design from 1930. Was born in Germany, but strongly influenced by Italian design. It created the basics of what today of the techniques that today explain how humans perceive visuals. So they explained empirically at the time, but today they are considered the principles. The ones that they wrote are considered the fundamental principle of modern design, and they explain how human visual perception works. And I can tell you guys that there are things that our visual perception detects like that. When we look at a slide, there are things that immediately we see. If an angle is bigger than another, is wider than another angle, if a line has a stronger curvature than another, if volume is bigger than another, if one shade is stronger than another one. So all of these things, we see them. Okay, and we perceive them in a quarter of a second. So these things, they are perceived, they are recognized in a quarter of a second. They are going to influence the way we perceive the message in our presentation. Let me give you an example. This is a pie chart. For those of you who have studied with me data storytelling and data presentation, you know that I would never present something like that, even though this is a classical pie chart that you could get from your Excel or your PowerPoint easily. You create one, you get one. But I would rather present something like that. Now, is it a completely different chart? No, not at all. It is exactly the same chart, but I'm using one of the Gestalt principles, which is contrast, okay, to make sure that the key message hit your attention immediately. Now, I'm not saying that the rest is not important, so the great part are important, but they're not part of my 10%. Look at this slide. I'm going to show you this slide to just comment the concept of visual noise. What do I mean by visual noise? Well, look at this slide and you'll have a clear idea what I mean. Visual noise means that this slide is overwhelming. This slide makes not clear what it wants to communicate us. So how can I redesign this slide, right? Because this is what often happens. Somebody gives us a slide and asks us to redesign, or we assign slides to our juniors and we ask them to redesign the slides for us. Okay, but what do we actually expect? Let me show you what the way I redesigned this slide in a way that I believe works much better. So I recreated the slide in a completely different way. Why this? Well, first of all, because if you noticed in the big wall of text that you see down below, you can spot some dates. Can you spot them, guys? Can you see the dates in the box, in the text box down below? This made me think that that is a roadmap. So this means that I can easily recreate a roadmap at the bottom of the slide. In a way that is a bit more interactive, that tells a story. So let me show you. Look, I take this slide and then I go slide by slide and I take by hand my audience through the slide while every element on the slide is interacting. What is the difference between these and these experiences I've just described here for you guys? Well, the difference is, first of all, I'm using chunking, then I'm using contrast, but most importantly, I'm minimizing the visual noise. How? I'm giving information chunk by chunk, piece by piece, correlating them while I tell the story, making everything interactive. Now, watch out, because when I use the word interactive, it might be confusing. I'm not using animations, but I'm actually using Glenn, I like you, love it. I appreciate you. I enjoyed the new design. But the idea behind this is I'm using multiple slides, and we call this the build-up effect. And the reason why I'm using multiple slides is because if ever somebody is going to export it as a PDF, it will always work. If you use animations, animations won't be exported to PDF, and therefore you will lose them. And furthermore, if somebody needs to edit your animations, guys, you're going to make their life a nightmare, because editing the animations of somebody else is very complicated. You have to reconstruct the entire order. So I will always recommend, if you do build up and chunking, do it with multiple slides. Maurizio, but does this mean that we'll have many slides in my PDF? Probably yes, but better to have more light slides than to have less very heavy slides. So the improvement, in my opinion, is significant, but we're going to use artificial intelligence to demonstrate it in a second. So the slides, I said, have to be engaging. Now, for those of you who have participated to a Lean Presentation Design class with us, you know that we like to play a game, and we're going to play the game today. Now, guys, I want to be 100% sure you all know how to use the chat. So if you do, please go to the chat and tell me, ciao, hi, something very quick. I know some of you already commented, but do it again. Just write a quick message. Tell me whatever you like, just a quick comment. But I want to see that you know to use the chat, because we're going to play a game in a second. So the game is going to be this. We're going to talk about excellent. I see some messaging are flowing in the chat. Go guys, show me that you can use it. Namaste. I want you to show me that you can use the chat. Very good. Okay, so we're going to play a game, and the game is the following. We know that people after 3 days only remember 65% of the visual stimulus, but they will only remember something around the 10% of what was written. So if we want to make people remember, if we want, guys, your message to last, we need to use pictures. Now, let me play this game with you. Are we ready? So if you guys are ready, I want you to be ready in the chat, hands on the keyboard, and tell me, I'm going to show you some slides, what you feel, what these slides make you feel. But it's a game, it's a speed game. So you need to be very quick, one word, quickly, as soon as you see the slides. Are we ready? 3, 2, 1, let's go. What does this slide make you feel? Go to the chat and tell me. Come on, go to the chat and write. Go, steak, hungry, go, yummy, juicy, go to the chat and tell me. Yes, come on, I want to see more messages, guys. I want to see us writing. Okay, very good, tasty, nice food, fat, okay. Okay, ready for the next slide? This one. Go, guys, go back to the chat and comment. Tell me, how does this slide make you feel? Let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go. So again, hungry, again, yummy, tasty, junk food, not healthy, hungry, more disgusting. Okay, okay, okay. So we're moving, we're shifting. Ready for the next slide? Go. This is the next slide. Go. Okay, now this slide, I know it's a bit heavier, okay? Milk, moo, animal, cute, judged, okay? Feel sorry. I'm reading your messages, guys. Cute, okay? Yes, I see what you mean. Ready for the next one? Look at this one. Now, how do you feel? How does this make you feel? You tell me. How does this make you feel? Guilty, mad, scared, sad, guilty, nauseous. All right. So you see, guys, the point is that if you think about the first slide and the last slide, the feeling has shifted strongly. But if you look at the slides, you will quickly notice that they all have the same text. This is a game that we like to play in our courses. And the reason I like to do that is because I want to tell you that, guys, images travel 60,000 times faster than text in your presentations. This means that if you want to communicate the message in a way that stands out and lasts forever, we need to create an impression. We need to create a memorable experience. And the way we associate combined slides with pictures will make all the difference. But remember that your slides are your narrative support. And when I talk about experience, I talk about slides that do not work like this. What kind of experience do you think we are delivering here? Guys, if you show people a slide like this, people won't listen. People will read. It is crucial that we understand how a presentation works. And the first thing that we need to understand is that most of the time during a presentation, people look at you presenting, giving the presentation. After you give this presentation, after you deliver your presentation, then you flip your slide and people start to look at you. At that moment in time, they go to look at your slide, right? And then they look at the slide, hopefully they catch the message, and then they come back to you. Okay, this is what often happens. Now, if this works properly, first of all, in real settings, you should be standing on which side of the screen? Come on, guys, especially my trainees, my previous students make me proud. On which side of the screen do we stand? Looking at the screen, we want to be on the left-hand side of the screen. You see in this image, she is presenting on the left-hand side of the screen for the audience. Why on the left-hand side of the screen? Who is going to tell me? Come on, go to the chat and tell me. Let's use the first one to guess. Why do we want to stand when we give a presentation to the left-hand side of the screen? Come on, go to the chat and tell me. Why? Why do we want to stand on the left-hand side of the screen? Okay. Let me see. Okay, very good, Maria, Hugo. Excellent, Lin Wei. Very good. Yes. Okay, Dirkjan. Okay, so it is important, of course, as you're saying, Dirkjan, not to stand on the way. They can't see our slides. And you don't even imagine how many people still present in front of the screen and people can't read the slides. But the most important thing I want to mention here is that people read from left to right, especially if we're speaking English. So if you want people to look at you and then catch your slide and then come back to you guys, you need to stand on the left-hand side of the screen. But to do that, you need to be able to anticipate your next slide. I'm never going to flip my slide without anticipating it, because what I want to say is I want people to hear the message from me first. Then I flip my slide. I know they will shift their eyes to the slide. They will catch the message. They will come back to me. But what is one of the most common mistakes, guys, is that people, they read their slides. They look back and they comment their slides. It doesn't work. Okay, it is crucial that we don't comment the slide that is already out, but we comment the next coming slide. How do we do that? First of all, especially if we're presenting online, one of the most common mistakes is sharing your screen. We never share our screen because what we share is the slideshow. We only share a window, not the screen, especially on Teams, on Zoom, WebEx, whatever platform you're using, because we want people to see the slides, but we want to see the presenter view. because by looking at the presenter view, I can see what's coming next. I can always be one step ahead and anticipate the next coming slide. Plus, I will never go blackout. Now, today we don't have time to go in depth and explain you how to set these up, how to create professional setups. But if this is a topic, and I think it is, because this makes a massive difference between a speaker that makes a long-lasting impression and a speaker that does so-and-so average performance. Okay, if this is a topic of interest, remind me at the Q&A in a few minutes, because we are going to add a full guide that I produced into the resources. Okay, so just keep that in mind. We want people to retain your message, but we discuss that most of the time, most of the water is lost. So since we know that we're fighting against working memory and the working memory is limited, okay, then what we need to understand how the working memory works. And how does it work? Well, we have a verbal channel, we have a visual channel. Now, the verbal channel works this way. The verbal channel is people listen to us, okay? They listen to us, and the information goes through the verbal channel. And what do you think goes into the visual channel? In the visual channel, you get the slides, okay? But there is always a but. There is a little secret that I'm going to reveal you. Cognitive science teaches us that in the verbal channel, there is also one more thing that goes through, which is what? It is the text on the slides. But these two bolts do not fit together in the verbal channel. So guys, simply said, if people read your slides, 100% guaranteed and scientifically proven, they are not going to listen. Okay, so you make them read, you lose them. You make them read, you lose them. Okay, so don't make them read. If I wanted to tell you, this is another example from an engineering faculty in which this study has been conducted. And if I wanted to tell you about the system engineering definition, imagine a system engineering definition, guys, an interdisciplinary approach that encompasses entire technical effort. Come on. By the way, it's boring, but it doesn't work. All right. If I want this slide to work, I need to tell you, okay, guys, system engineering definition is an interdisciplinary approach that satisfies customer needs. Done. Okay, I just used keywords and I made sure that the moment you looked at my slide, you could catch the keywords. So now you might be wondering, okay, Maurizio, but why are you keeping the gray text on the slide? Because if I keep the gray text on the slide, then this slide can also be delivered to people as a self-standing support and people can read through without me giving a speech. So this is a slide that I can at the same time present, but I can at the same time as well deliver, and people will be able to read through without the need to having me commenting on it. Okay, but there is a massive difference between these guys and this. Okay, of course it is crucial that the two channels are related. So as long as I say the SEM is an interdisciplinary approach that satisfies customer needs, boom, I show the slide, people look, interdisciplinary approach satisfies customer needs. You see there is a sync between my speech and the slide that I'm showing. This is the way it works. And so we are able to turn slides that do not work in slides that do work. In general, guys, we know that less is more. I know that sometimes letting some information go, it's not easy, it is tough, but it makes the difference. So less is more. Be able, be ready, be brave enough sometimes, yes, brave enough to let information go, because not everything is important for your audience to act, or at least to remember what you're telling them. Is this slide memorable? Yes, how bad it looks like this slide. So you will always remember it as the best slide ever. But how long does it take to read a slide like that? Okay, too long. So how can I turn this slide into something that works? Easy. First of all, I need to detect what is the 10% I want people to walk out with. What is the key fact? What is the one figure that matters? Not to me, but to the audience, for them to take a decision. What is one figure that matters? Am I able to tell it? Yes, in this slide, it was part of the subtitle. So first of all, I turned this slide in a much more visual way. Now, this is a much more visual way, and I'm going to highlight the key fact. The key fact is going to be this 300 ppm, which is a limit that we overcame, that we couldn't respect. Well, that we exceeded. Now, if you look at the slide, quick check, glance check, and you come back to me, guys, you see it. Okay, you see it. And I want you to see it immediately because we have no time for them to read, for them to process, and for you to make them. Remember that there is one more thing in the formula. Because yes, we calculated an average between clarity, efficiency, engagement, memory. But what about the time? Well, how fast are we at making presentations? Very often, not very fast. For those of you who have done the courses with me, you know plenty of shortcuts, you know plenty of techniques, and you know that we can be really, really fast on PowerPoint if we know how to use it properly. And this is for those of you who have the Lean Presentation Design course, for example, in your corporate university. If you don't have it, you want to talk to us, feel free to reach out and we'll be happy to be connected to the learning and development department of your company, of course. But generally speaking, we do help people to design the presentation faster, like very fast. And we also create the MLC PowerPoint add-in. We invented 60 plus buttons for PowerPoint to make everybody way faster and way more effective at making presentations. I know among you guys, I recognize some people who are heavy users of this tool, and I'm very proud of you. I know it changed my life, and I know it did change the life of many people. So this is another tool that if you want to try for free, there is a team dedicated to that. Just let us know and we'll be happy to help. Now, let's condensate and wrap it up so that we can move to using artificial intelligence. I condensated the explanation of the formula into a scorecard that we can easily apply to our slides. The scorecard basically summarizes all the variables we're using that define the effectiveness of a slide, how a lean slide is, to answer the initial question. And to each of the variables, we are able to give a score 1 out of 5. So how can AI help us in all of this? Generally speaking, you know that I often give speeches about AI. If you follow me on LinkedIn, you know that I constantly post contents about artificial intelligence, storytelling, data storytelling with artificial intelligence, because I believe that artificial intelligence is a strong tool that helps us in the ideation, in the creations, and also I often talk about the delivery phase, but I've never talked about the testing phase. So can we test our presentation with artificial intelligence? So yes, we can. And let me show you how we do that. So the first most important thing is we need to have a methodology. The methodology is the Lean Presentation Scorecard. In this case, what we're going to do is we're going to tell AI, okay, now behave as an audience of managers, but at the same time, behave as a Lean Presentation scientist. And I want you to apply the Lean Presentation Scorecard to a presentation that I'm going to upload you. So I'm going to assign AI a role, and I'm going to be very clear about the role AI should behave as. So now what I'm going to tell AI is a structured prompt, and I'm going to use the AI prompting structure that Alberto shared with us before. Today, we don't have time to get too much into the detail, but this is the result of some researches that I did across different large language models. Furthermore, if this is of interest, I use this when I comment about the ideation and creation part of the process, and I did it in the previous webinar that we did on communicate with AI. So if you want, just ask us at the end, and we're going to send you the link to the previous one so you can see how we created the prompting formula and you can learn from our prompting strategies. In this case, what I'm going to do is define the objective, use the Lean Presentation Scorecard, score 1 out of 5 each variable of my presentation, each slide of my presentation. Of course, use the Lean Presentation Scorecard and give me the answer as a structured table. Make sure that you use my presentation. I'm going to upload the slide that I want you to judge, and I give you an example: clarity 3 out of 5, efficiency 2, engagement 4, and so on. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to give evaluation criteria to AI. So I want your answer to be accurate, to be structured, and you need to have the dual perspective, you know, the audience of managers, but as well the scientist who is going to study and apply the scorecard. So imagine AI goes out, analyzes each slide, and for each slide applies the scorecard and calculates an average of all these variables. I did it with Microsoft Copilot. I often use Microsoft Copilot because it's very powerful, because it's data safe, especially for corporates like us. So yeah, what Copilot did, calculated the, as you can see, but for each slide 1, slide 2, slide 3, calculated assigned a score to each variable, and then calculated a lean index. So it's calculating the formula slide by slide. That's why I believe we can use it as a testing tool, right? If we have the methodology and we want to test whether a slide works or not, we can put things together, use Copilot, and get the answer. Is my slide lean or not? Plus, I can get recommendations on how to fix it. So now you have an objective methodology to understand whether your slide is effective or not. Whether you like it or not, guys, AI will tell you. But watch out, because before you get to the perfect result, AI might still take some iterations. You need very powerful models to do this, especially the testing phase. It's very complicated. And so AI might easily hallucinate and give you results that make no sense. For example, while I was prompting, I got results that were not exact for each slide. For example, it was giving me exactly the same score, exactly the same comment, exactly the same recommendation. Guys, this doesn't work. So remember, you always have to be able to understand what AI gives you. So if I look back at my slides, yes, I did redesign these slides, and AI assigned the redesigned slide higher score. Is there something more that I can improve? Of course, there's always something that I can improve, and of course, it depends on the context, and AI doesn't know how my speech is performing in sync with the slides. So of course, you don't get a full picture, but you get a very good benchmark to understand whether your slide work or not. So artificial intelligence is like a black box. At the end of the day, guys, we're going to give context, methodology, we're going to give alignment, so evaluation criteria, and we're going to prompt it in a structured way to get the final result. I'm heading towards the end, and I'm going to give you the resources in a second. But before I conclude, I just want to give you one more thing, and then I'm going to invite Laura back on the stage. The result of AI always need to be verified. So even if we are giving you the methodology, we're giving you the prompting, and everything I shared with you today, guys, it's part of the resources, and we're going to give you bonuses if you ask for more. Easy. Reach out on LinkedIn. I'd love to be in contact with you guys. So you know my name, find me and be in touch. But remember, whatever you find, whatever the result you get from AI, it needs to be verified. Do not just copy paste.
Thanks, Maurizio. It was very interesting and very cool to see how can AI support us during our daily tasks. And guys, sorry to say that we weren't able to resolve the connection issues, and also we ran a bit over time. So since we don't want to take up any more of your time, I would like to take 2 minutes more to explain to those who don't know us what MLC do. So wait, okay. So in MLC, we help you create effective presentations, and we teach you how to do them. How? We apply the Lean methodology developed by Maurizio Lacava, author of Lean Presentation Design Book and Presenting Data. With this innovative approach, I would say, and the use of strategic tools as and framework also as our canvas, we optimize the presentation creations and making every slide, I would say, strategic and goal-oriented. Our PowerPoint add-in, as Maurizio told us before, allows you to streamline and speed up repetitive tasks and accelerating the creation of your presentations. Our training programs promote the culture of Lean presentation design and efficient communication also, enhancing companies' visual. So to recap, MLC is the company you want to come in when you want to create a presentation, when you want to learn how to do it, and also when you want to speed up and boost your productivity. So here you can find the resources, so the Lean presentation canvases, they are prompting checklist, the Lean presentation scorecard that Mauri shows us before. And also you can get the access to e-learning on how to create presentation with Copilot, so with the AI in PowerPoint, and also the guide, the complete guide to create an effective presentation. Just scan the QR code that you find here in this slide, and let's reply to your questions. I can see in the chat, will you send out the meeting notes and presentation slides? Yes. And you provide courses online? Yes.
Yes, especially for courses online. I'm going to jump in because we had a connection problem with Sarah. For courses online, yes, we do deliver courses online. Generally speaking, we have two kinds of courses, one that is for corporates and one that is open to everybody. So if you work in a corporate, the best way is reach out to us. We're going to introduce the course to your HR. We're going to make sure that the course is going to be adopted by the company you work in. But if you want the course only for yourself, or maybe you want your company to fund the course for you, well, then we have open classes that we run from time to time when we gather people together. We're organizing the next one in English. So if you guys are interested to join as individuals to the next class, be aware that the next class is going to be in English and it's going to happen soon. And we're still taking some subscriptions. So yes, Alberto is putting in the chat the email info@mlcpresentations.com. Okay, if you really want to join as individuals, right, as soon as possible to that one, we might be able to invite you to the next running class.
Exactly. Remember to follow us on LinkedIn, of course. I'll put the link in the chat, because there we will spread a lot of information, useful information for you all. And that's it. I think we are in time, Maurizio.
We are perfectly on time. Guys, I just want to ask very quick feedback, so let us know. But most importantly, I want to thank you very much. Grazie a tutti. The way we say in Italian. Did you like it? Was it nice? Did you learn some good thing? Most importantly, smartphones out, take a picture and download the resources, because this is where we condensated all the resources. Make sure you download them. Okay, make sure you download them because they are here for you. Okay, so did you scan the QR code? Does the QR code work? Let us know, because this is where you can gather the canvases, the prompting formula, and I can guarantee, guys, each of these tools is a result of long-lasting studies, and everything that we shared with you today is widely tested on the field, and it's very much updated with the latest AI trends and innovative tools we have at our disposals. So take the opportunity to download everything. I know it's a lot of stuff, but I'm sure these tools are going to be very useful and you can apply immediately after the webinar. Guys, I want to thank you very much once again.
Yeah, me too.
And
thank you, guys.
I'm really looking forward to hearing from you, especially for those of you who want to join our courses. Let us know. We'll be happy to schedule a call with you.
Thanks again. Bye.
Ciao a tutti, bye.